remember that time I went with, he came home to pheasant hunting, and he said, you know what, Wilma, if you come in October, why don't you go back to Wyoming with me, and then we'll drive to Bill's.
Right.
Because Bill was sick then, and so I did. So we really had a fun time, and we get in the old pickup, and away we go, and so we took our time. So we go there, and he said, well, let's go see Nancy and Ivan. So I go in. He was very nice to me. Nancy was real nice to me. So I think we stayed there maybe 2-3 days, and then we went over and told him goodbye. I was being nice. I wasn't even. Anyway, I went over and I told him goodnight, and I had to hug him and everything.
Yeah, no.
And he said, so I said, well, I won't see you for a while, because then I'm going to fly home from Utah. So I decided, well, I better call for my reservations, because Sam was going to go back to Wyoming. And Bill said, why are you doing that? Why are you flying home from here? I said, well, because I got to get home. And he said, why don't you go back with Sam? I said, well, I got to go home. He said, go back with Sam, so Sam has company, fly from Wyoming. So it won't cost any more. Sam said, yeah, we didn't think about that. So we go back to Wyoming. So Sam said, let's go see Nancy and Ivan.
Oh, here we go again.
So we go see Nancy and Ivan, we walk in the door, and he said, I thought you were going to Minnesota. I said, well, I decided to come back and fly from here. He said, you lie, don't you? Oh. He said, you said you weren't coming back. I said, so I changed my mind. But you told a lie. That's when we started. I can't remember it all. So whatever I do, I can't do right. I mean, you were glad to see me leave. And I didn't come to see you anyway. I came to see Nancy.
Well, if you finally get the rules, and you start playing by his rules, he changes them.
Yeah, I never can figure it out.
He always changes.
You ain't got it.
And this is the way we're doing things. Okay, I finally get in the groove.
You want to go to Minnesota with her?
And then...
Yep, this is the really payoff.
It's true.
You heard about that Jesse Ventura that we had for our governor, that old...
Don't play a figure at me. I ain't getting it out of you.
What do you know, that crazy governor we had? I thought, oh, what an embarrassment, Minnesota. And I thought, oh, he can't get in. There's no way he can win. He got it. The young people that never voted before went out to vote for him. Well, at the night he was inaugurated, I can't say that word. Well, you know, most governors, it's all black tie, and what did he do? He got some rock band. He came up with a feather boa around his neck. He walks in, this big wrestler, and he was dressed horrible, wasn't he? That's Minnesota. Well, what happened? The phone rang. I answered the phone, and he said, this is Ivan, never called me. And I said, oh, what's wrong? Yeah, he said, what's wrong? He said, I bet you voted for Jesse. I was so embarrassed about our governor anyway. He said, I just got to call her. I just got to call her.
You know, let me say something. I bet that's the best thing that ever happened in Minnesota, ain't it? Him getting as governor.
You know what? He called what did he call the press? He called them a bunch of, he hated them.
Oh, yeah, I know.
A bunch of, he called them a name. I mean, and he every time someone would walk up with the camera, he said, get that out of my face. I mean, he was nasty. But then you know what? I knew I didn't think he won. So I said, you know, I didn't vote for him, but he's not too bad because he gave us all $500 bonus. He didn't have much to say after that. I said, did your governor give you any bonus? He said, no.
You voted for him, then.
No, I didn't, but I sure was happy to get $500.
Hey, you ever see when he was talking to Dan Rather on an interview? And was it Tom Brokaw? No, one of them guys from from Canada, one of the news guys.
Peter Jennings.
Peter Jennings. You see that, what he's told? Oh, and he told Dan Rather, he said, that Canadian will go back where he belongs. He shouldn't even be down here. And Dan Rather said, well, he's a friend of mine, old Jesse said, well, I don't care. He still should go back there.
Well, then here he is, the governor of Minnesota. The capital is St. Paul. And then he was on, what show was that, Leno or one of those night shows, Letterman or Leno. So he's on there interviewing, and he's up there just as cocky as can be, the governor of Minnesota. And then they asked about Minnesota, and he said, how did he say that about St. Paul? He said, those streets in St. Paul, which is true, they're cockeyed. I mean, they're cut off, and I mean, you have to know the streets so you could never find anything. Anyway, he said, you know what? He said, many years ago, a bunch of drunken Irishmen planned St. Paul. Oh, did he get heat from that? I mean, the Irishmen in St. Paul, they just... I mean, and then he come back and he said, well, that wasn't the way I meant it. However, he said it. He said that on national television.
Oh, he said it like it was.
But you know,
he's truly is not a politician that
but
watches
you know
the
what
words
now?
every minute.
Now he's a,
I think that's like
what do they call them? He's in this big college. He's teaching in this college. And then now he's
teaching.
Yes,
not
in some not Harvard or something. Yeah, and then, but you know what? Now he's thinking. He said maybe 209 presidency isn't out. He might run for
that.
on the independent. On the independent, he's not.
Yeah, I've heard that.
He's not Republican.
Yeah.
She wants $1,000 bonus now.
I still won't vote for him.
What's he gonna run for now?
President.
But now he's teaching in some college. He's some professor now. And they call him, there's a name for, not a doctor. There's a name for.
See if anybody else wants one.
Anybody want Pepsi or, what is it?
Diet Dr. Pepper.
What is it?
Dr. Pepper?
Not for me.
What have we got?
There's some, looking at there's some in that
Well, that's
kitchen.
okay.
There might be something there you like. Go see.
If it's not Pepsi, forget it.
There's no Pepsi in there.
Okay.
No Pepsi in there.
I'm strictly Pepsi.
Would you like something?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay, you want anything, nobody want anything but you?
I don't want any.
Okay.
I don't want any Pepsi, especially.
How about Diet Dr. Pepper?
No.
No,
That's
okay.
all we got.
But, there's a name for it when they go to teach in the college. Not a professor. There's another name they call it, and he was different. They showed him on TV. He was talking in a class. Well, he didn't look like Jesse. He didn't have that bow on,
So you remember.
oh, when I saw him walk down the night, he was inaugurated, and his poor wife.
Is she nice? Does she seem like a nice lady?
And she works with poor children and stuff, and her mother, the night that he was declared that he won, her mother was up there with her, and she laid her head in her mother's lap, and she said, what can I do? She's just a very quiet, she loves horses, and she's a farm girl, I guess she was from some small town in Minnesota, and she made an excellent first lady. But you know what? Then he moved out of the governor's house.
I heard something about
Because
that.
you know what? He was out of town, and his son turned 21 or something, and he had parties there, and then the people that worked there, what do you call them? The maids and
Servants and
servants. Okay, so they complained. They complained that that the son messed up the house, had young kids there, and they shouldn't have been there in the governor's house. And so he fired all his help. He fired all these people.
Oh my!
Because they said, talk to that's my son.
Ivan.
Oh, and then he moved out. Then he moved out and moved to a private home. He wouldn't live it. if they were that way, he closed the doors of the mansion.
Oh, for crying
Well,
out
he ain't governor now, is he?
No,
He didn't run again.
no,
I was so shocked when
Who's
we
the
put him
governor
in,
now?
I couldn't believe it.
Valenti.
nobody could.
I just could not believe
It
it.
was an embarrassment.
You know,
Well, you've had your share
instead
of
of
bad.
put him down into something else, or something like
Janky.
governor of the state, I
Governor
just
today
couldn't
and
believe
he's a
that.
representative.
Representative,
And
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
fine, but he should have never
He
been behind
walked,
the wheel.
almost walked on that. That was discouraging.
But you know, he had some good points, but I mean,
Yeah.
he just wasn't, and then also he was a Navy SEAL, and he bragged about that. I mean, it was almost like he said he could do anything, because if you're a Navy
Yeah.
SEAL, you can do anything. I mean, he just brags all the time.
In the Navy, what?
Navy SEAL. You know,
SEAL.
Yeah, they call it,
Special services.
what they would do, they would go, he explained it too. They would go where no one else could go. I mean, they were trained to,
Just Captain
Go
Kirk.
underwater and
Kind
go.
of special operations, like the Rangers and.
yeah. And he claimed they're supposed to be the best of the best.
They are, I mean, they were,
Yeah, they're
but
tough.
now they're not.
But they were,
Yeah, they were real tough.
yeah. And they, I mean, they went